Another option under the settings bar that pulled down is quizzes. And like I mentioned earlier, you can make this a survey, just a form, or again, you can make it a quiz, which is very nice, especially for all of us incoming teachers that will soon make our way to the field. And you can make a nice little quiz for the students. You can make it short, you can make it, 20 questions, or you can make it really long if you wanted to do so. But the nice thing is you can hit this make a quiz button, and there's more options for the quiz. And under release grade, you can release the grade immediately after each submission, or you can do it later after manual review. So it kind of depends on what type of questions you ask. If they're multiple choice or fill in the blank or something like that, you could probably release the grade immediately after submission because the computer can compute the grades for you. But you might want to put later after manual review if you have some short answer or paragraph form questions, and that way you can look at them and then release the grade because the computer might not count something that you would, or vice versa. So that's nice to know. It is good now for the respondent what they can see. Do you want to allow them to see missed questions? Do you want to allow them to see correct answers? Or do you want to allow them to see the point values? So again, that's something you have to do based on the type of quiz you are making and based on who the quiz is for. Like young little kiddos in first and second grade, the point value might mean nothing to them. Or, the correct answer might mean nothing to them. So they might not even need to see anything after they submit their quiz. But a middle schooler or a high schooler really might want to see what did I get right? What do I need to work on? Different things like that. So again, it depends on who you're making the quiz for. So we will move on. And our next button is the send button that is on the right of our settings. And this send button is for when we want to send out our form or our survey or our quiz. So you can see right away what pops up here is this little box, and you can check this box and it could collect usernames for you. So we discussed earlier if you want it to collect usernames or not, if you want to know who it's from, or if you want it to be anonymous there. You can send the form via mail. You can send it via a link, or you can embed a link into something else. So again, that is for your choice. If you want to do email, you would type in to whom you want to send it to. You could type a subject in the subject box. You can include the form in the email, whatever you'd like to do. The link here, you can copy this and you can embed the link into something else, or you can just send the link in an email. Maybe your kids know it's coming to their email, so they know that link is it. If you need to add a message to it, again, you can do that in the previous mail section, but that is just for your own use. And then the embedded HTML is here, so depending on what you want to do there and how you want to send the form out. So that's just, again, something for you to keep in mind. On this first page here where it sends emails, you can add collaborators. And when you hit that button, a new form pops up, and that's the share settings. So you can see right now that I am the person who owns this form and who is in charge of it, and the only person right now that can edit it. But if I would type somebody's name in here to invite a person, you could see that they could edit it, or they could view it, or they could comment on it. So I will type in my professor here, and I typed his email in, and then it's under can edit, so he can edit if it needs to be. And so I will send that, and now you can see who has access. Again, I am the owner, I have access, and then my professor has access to edit it. So when you're done with that, you can just click done. Our next 3 dots here is our final button on the top, and you can make a copy of the document. You could move it to a folder if there's other options. You can move it to trash if you want to delete the whole thing just right away. If you want to get a pre-filled link, you can click that button. If this is all filled out and you have your questions and so forth, you might want to print it so you have a hard copy of the quiz. You can, again, add collaborators, which is what we just did when we added my professor to CanEdit. So there's multiple ways to do that, which in Google, there are multiple ways to do a lot of things. It just depends on which you prefer. Here's the script editor if you want to be able to edit part of this, and then add-ons. So if you click that, you can find out what else you can add to the form here that you have made. So moving on, we will now shift our attention to the buttons on the side. Here we have add question. So of course, for many forms and surveys and quizzes, there'll be more than one question. So your first one pops up here, but to hit this button, you'll get another question, question 2. And it's important to remember that on the side here, there's no counting. So it won't say 1 next to the first question. But if you're a person that really likes order and organization, you might want to put 1 period and then write your question, so you have numbers next to them. The next button here is our add title and description if you would like to do that. So if you click that, you can just right here in this area, write your title and then even a description. So you might want to title the first section of this form sports. So you would write sports there, and maybe in your description say, we are going to discuss multiple different types of sports in this section. So that would be your description. So the students or parents or individuals looking at this form would have a good idea of oh, okay, these next 5 questions are going to be about sports. And they wouldn't be caught off guard, and they would just have an idea, which is what a lot of people like when they are reading and looking at new documents. Our third button is the add image button. If we want to click on that, we can add an image to the question. You can always add images to spruce things up a little bit. So whether it's part of the question or part of the answers, you can do that. You just need to click your add image and make sure it's somewhere on your computer where you can upload it to this form. The fourth button here is add video, which again is a lot like the add image. Maybe you want a video, maybe you want somebody to watch this short snippet, maybe 10 seconds, and then ask them a question about it. Something like that. That's pretty fun, and that is exactly what you can do with that button. Our fifth and final button on this side here is the add section. So if you want to click that, it will bring you a whole new section up here. So we see section 1 of 2, and then section 2 of 2. So maybe your next section you want to be about food, and you want to completely separate them because sports and food really do not relate, most likely in a sense, for this survey. So that's one way to do that. And then you can always delete the section if you decide you don't want it, but it's good to know that option is there. So to create a question, what we do, we'll go back up here and we will just get rid of our description here. And we will get rid of this section here so that we don't have too much going on. And so we have midterm, and you can write a description under the midterm. And then your email address, since that box is checked, so we could type in our email address so we know who is filling out the form or who is sending it. So in order to add a question, we'll click the Add Question button, and then we will start. So again, like I said, for some of us who really like order and organization, we might click 1 so that we have our questions numbered.